and honored to come before the wonderful American people of the great United States of America, specifically from this free state of Texas. It's always a pleasure. Uh, I want to say what a wonderful morning, and hopefully you're having a wonderful weekend filled with activity, and also you keep the American soldiers, our troops, in your prayers. While some of us are going to church today, some of us are going to the mall, some of us are going to see family members. We are just having a wonderful day. We're going to play with our kids. A lot of our servicemen are in the hospital, some are in the morgue, some are on the battlefield at sea. So we always want to keep them in mind. Also for our law enforcement officers our great law enforcement in the good state of Texas, our state troopers, our sheriffs. We always want to keep them in our prayers. What they deal with daily is incredible. Um, Good morning, everybody. The weather, I like it. It's been a little bit brisk, a little chilly, a little bit of rain last night here in North Texas. Um, Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We are here still, and today we happen to be in Plano, Texas. We've been in Plano and Allen the last couple of days broadcasting. What a wonderful hotel as well. What a really, 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 really nice place. I've been enjoying myself. I have some good news and I have some bad news. Uh, and I always think the good news is really good news. And I always think the bad news is just the lesser good news. But good morning. I don't know where you're from. You could be listening today from the good state of Texas or the free state of Florida. You could be listening from Okinawa. You could be listening from somewhere in Thailand, China, India. I don't know where you are. New York, California, Canada, Ethiopia. You could be listening from Ghana, South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya. Where are you? China. Where? Tell me where you are. Vietnam, Cambodia, Sri Lanka. Where are you in the world? Turkey, Saudi Arabia. Where are you? Germany, Russia, Poland. Well, wherever you're listening from, good morning. And it is so wonderful to see you. If you're going to, have a little something to eat or drink, go ahead. Take your time. We don't. This is not going to be as painful as you think. I want to be very clear, and I want to be extremely, extremely clear. I am a Republican by means of voting and party classification, by way of morals, by way of political persuasion, and my life ideals. I am a conservative. That will never, ever change. I am not a moderate. I'm not a libertarian, even though I like libertarians, but I'm not a libertarian. I'm not a liberal. I am not a Democrat. I am a conservative. One of the few in my family. My father is a liberal and a Democrat. My mother is a liberal and a Democrat. They believe in using the system and not necessarily paying it back. Look, I guess they believe in handouts. They also believe in socialism. My parents. And I believe this is, unfortunately, where some of the generational curses come in as black people. In these neighborhoods in Detroit and California, the socialist mindset of our black parents under the black church, which is under the Democratic Party, they have instilled socialism, victimization, and victimhood in the young black children, which makes us extremely less productive than Latino children and Hispanics, Arab and Asian, and even whites. Now, I am resigning from the MAGA movement. I'm going to keep my hat. If Trump was to run again with every other candidate, I would still vote for that president. But I am no longer part of the MAGA movement. I am resigning. I still love President Trump, and I think he is, out of every other president we have, and in my lifetime, I think he's been the best president I've ever seen. With that being said, I think President Trump has been derailed. I don't have the same confidence in what is to come. So with that being said, I am resigning, stepping down from the MAGA movement and continuing to hope for a more conservative approach and reality. Now, the United States of America is in the fight for its life. I truly believe that. I believe Iran will be the beginning and the graveyard. I'm going to say this again. I believe Iran will be the beginning and the graveyard of where our hegemony will die. America will no longer be the hegemony, world power, the hegemony that we once were. The entire world is watching, and the entire world believes under the hegemony of America that we have to comply in some shape, some form, and America, with its military scattered over 80 different lands, that we have to comply at least with the monetary system, with the rules-based order. And America has the tools, the leverage in order to make sure that everybody complies with a 250-year-old country. Just listen to this. That has created the rules-based order in which actually Europe laid the foundation for. Now, with Europe laying this foundation, obviously they get to be some of the key players, sort of like the shareholders, if you will, to our American business. That means they get first crack at sending their wines here, their imported cars, their leather. This is sort of, they're sort of like business partners. America, you do all the dirty work, you do all the military work, but we get a percentage and currency flowing into dollars into France, into Poland, into Italy. And in exchange, we nod and back you like a Senate that gives confirmation to a candidate or a president. And so this is how this arrangement has worked. This is how Europe has still maintained, and Britain, their influence as sort of the elders or the co-signers to the American hegemony. Now, it was always thought and said that if you piss Europe off, that will be the only one way America falls as a world power, since we believe we don't even need Europe anymore. Europe needs us, our military. Well, this is probably going too far, but this is where we are. Now, I am resigning from being a part of the MAGA movement. I am still a Republican, and I am still a conservative, and I am still rooting for the president to snap back to his America First agenda. At this time, we don't have an America First agenda. We are not making America great again under any circumstance. Now, many black folks and Democrats with their corrupt mind was thinking that America great again meant putting black people back in chains, listening to Joe Biden and your liberal friends under the Obamas, which were liars. They had their own sexual rainbow ideas of making America great again. I'll get to the chat in a second. I love you guys. Give me a moment. I'll get to the chat. But I'm resigning as a MAGA person and supporter. I do not support MAGA under any circumstance. I am not against MAGA by any circumstance. I wish MAGA all of the best. It was a great 1.5 year run. Now, I've always respected the president and the fact that he ceased to be a Democrat and started to become... I am not a baby boomer. I don't even know what a baby boomer is. I was born in the 80s. I don't know what a baby boomer is. I thought baby boomers were in their 60s or 70s, but I am not a baby boomer, and I don't even know what that means. If I am, according to you, then fine. But I didn't know that. But anyway, listening to the president as a young man, I've always respected his viewpoints when he was younger, and he seemed to know the issues. I heard once you get in that seat and once you become the president, you begin to feel the electricity of the deep state and how they really run things. They will use phone calls, Epstein Island, and everything else to make sure whoever is the president, that they have an electric dog collar and will not be able to do the things that they think that they want to do instantly and overnight, like a sudden flash of lightning that hits a tree. President Trump agenda changed overnight. Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli Jewish community are looking out for their country and have every right. They have reason to come to Washington and lobby for their cause, just like every nation does. I believe Benjamin Netanyahu is the longest serving prime minister of Israel, and I believe Benjamin Netanyahu has been there too long. I believe Europe has no confidence in him. I think he is not even wanted in Europe. Actually, he is wanted in Europe, but he illegally wanted. The court, The Hague, wants his arrest. He has several scandals going on in his own country and is due in court. But because he is in war, a lot of these proceedings have been put on the back burner. Our hegemony will die in Iran. I want you to listen to me. Iran has just changed the narrative. And I think still the American people who have not smelled the wind of the solar eclipse that came above our country for the last 14 years that marked the X over us, meaning that your hegemony is over. The sky said that, not China, not Russia, not the black community. The universal court that is in the sky. There is a court in the sky. If you don't know, there is a court underwater. If you don't know, that is not my business to educate you on that. Your concept, your reality, and everything that you have laid out is finished. And you can go and collect the last of your things. Now, again, we who are so-called lip service constitutionalists and good old-fashioned white bread Americans are so blind we can't even see the book of Daniel's writing on the wall. We have no clue, and we don't even realize, most of us, about 95% of the American population have no idea what that eclipse meant. I am no longer a MAGA. This was one of a painful but swift decision. I am beginning early because I want my fellow Americans who love this country and love the Republican Party and the conservative movement to know that I stand with you. I want our troops, our military, to know that I stand with you. This is one of the hardest decisions that I have to make, but I love this country more than I love a MAGA movement that has been hijacked. MAGA had the very engine that we thought would put an end to the deep state, has now joined forces with the deep state. The hours and days and minutes that go by, you will begin to see the global south and BRICS country and nations like India, who's always straddling the fence. One point they're here to stop China. The other reality is they're kind of working with China. They're not supposed to be buying oil from Russia, but they do. Same thing with Europe. They're not really supposed to be dealing with the pipeline with Russia, but they do. And the U.S. has had to give in now and say, well, I guess Russia's okay. I guess you guys can do it. These nations are watching the hegemony, the petrodollar, and the American projection of power. None have dared to touch it, from China to Russia, but we all know that they were coming. And at some point, this confrontation was irrevocably going to happen, whether it happened in Ukraine, whether it happened in Taiwan or North Korea, or with the last obstacle of Israel, Iran. Iran is that one pirate story of treasure that they say if you get that treasure, you will have all the riches from generations and from eons and from ages ago. But the treasure, like Indiana Jones, is buried in such a dangerous place. They say that it is the death graveyard of kings. America was warned that you will be allowed to go in peace from your hegemony better than the British, who is now a fraction of who they used to be. You will be given blessed and love for your treatment of Black Americans and your ending of slavery. God has shown you favor from your past crazy escapades with the Native Americans and all of these other things that we have done as a nation. God says, I'm going to forgive that. And I'm going to let you, even though your dollar will shrink and no longer be the petrodollar, a new order is coming in, but I'm going to let you be on top of that so you can float into the history books of the greatest nation that has ever done it. Like a pimp, like Muhammad Ali, like Jordan. You will fade into history as one of the greats of all times, allowing yourself to be mentioned in the same breath as Egypt, Rome, and others. The only one thing I ask you as the creator and the judge of all nations, who sat down the Greeks, who sat down the Romans, who sat down the great British Empire, who sat down the Indian Empire, broke it up into Sri Lanka, broke it up into Pakistan. India was broken. The Ottomans were broken. The great Muslim powers were broken. I break nations when it's their time to end. America, I will do you a favor. But I'm going to pass a decree that you will see in the sky. The first one will come within 7 years as a line forming an X, or a Jewish letter, if you will, the unknown. And then 7 more years, another one will come, and it will mark an X over the continental United States of America, marking the end of your hegemony. At this time, you are no longer allowed to go to war for any reason at all. Israel, knowing this, being an astrotheologist, this is why every major religion has a symbol of the star, the sun, or the moon, or they use a sun in the back of the head of Jesus or some sort of halo. Pay attention. We were warned. And this is why we begin to clean up and reform the United States of America, removing the men out of the sports, out of the military, getting rid of the pedophilia, cleaning up the food, because God spared us and was not going to burn us because of our wicked behavior. You felt it in the air that it was coming, and we got spared. We were on our way to make America great one more time, as if God said, you know what? I'm not ready for your hegemony to go. I'll extend it for you, like Hezekiah. Give you 15 more years. I'll extend it for you because of the favor you have shown to African American black people who I truly love, and the people who you oppressed and broken and hurt very, very bad. You guys have made amends. You love each other. I am so proud of your nation as you lead the world and help nations all over the world. I am proud of what you have achieved. I want to give you more time as a blessing and a favor. All you have to do is stay out of war. And here came Benjamin Netanyahu. Walks into the Oval Office, says, listen, we're the chosen people. God will always make an exception for you because we're Israel. Now, the president, like any other president and like any other world leader, you really will bend to that because Israel has demonstrated enormous power. Some of us don't even know how they're able to do it. Whether it be in Hollywood, in music, in sports. Meanwhile, another form, a lesser form of a godly-like people have been able to show extraordinary abilities that is even greater than Israel, and that is Black Americans. While in bondage and in chains with a beautiful coating of our DNA and our structure of who we are, while names have been removed from us, we've been put in silence and X'd out, knowing our language, knowing who we truly, genuinely are, we managed to still create the blues. Come on. We managed to still show a favor of the universal God to us to come out of 400 years. I'm going to say that again. To come out of 400 years. I'm going to say that again. To come out of 400 years of oppression and still create jazz, the clock, the automobile, in bondage. A people like that has never been up to receive our own country like a Israel. Never came up in the hearts of our brothers and sisters. Let us give them some land. Never came up. Then no one ever said, you know, even though the history books show that they have some sort of question of them being a chosen people as well, they just turned the other look. They did just don't no. They're not. They can't be. Of course not. They look at them. They're on drugs now. They're this. They're that. They just can't be them. There's no. We have the Israel we need. We have the chosen people we need. We have all of the other beautiful nations of the world. This is just niggas who, you know, we eventually help us out and do things, and you know they contribute. Little Michael Jackson. I told a friend one time. This hurts me to do this, but I'm going to show you that I love. They said, black people are on the bottom. I said, you must don't know God. What you mean? I said, have you noticed everything that's good in this world gets oppressed from our children? And all the wickedness rise to the top. All of the hate, all of the filth, the degeneracy, that's what's on top. I said, let me ask you a question. They had no hope in their eyes. I said, name me 6 famous or well-known Filipinos. They couldn't do it. I said, name me 6 well-known Chinese. They couldn't do it. Name me 6 well-known Russians, Sri Lankans, or people from India that the world knows. They couldn't do it. I said, how about from Qatar? They couldn't do it. I said, name me 10 African Americans. And they said Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, Bill Cosby, Kobe, James Brown, Aretha Franklin, Whitney Houston. This is a people that is blessed beyond measure. The Temptations. And even under oppression, as our own loved ones and beautiful Americans turn the other eye and love everything but us. You love Israel more than us. You love the British more than us. You love Poland more than us. And we died and fought here with you for this land. You love Germany more than us. And we demonstrated to you the most beautiful things you ever seen in your life. The poetry, the inventions of peanut butter. I mean, the list goes on of the extraordinary things we've done in this country. And I didn't even go down the list of the inventions that African Americans have done, even the light bulb. But yet everything we've done, they've just used and monetized for their rich gain. And when I say they, I mean whatever the structure is, and I'm not blaming white folks by no means. You see, that person, once I told them how great we are in a world that don't want to see your greatness. God sees it. God knows your pain and know of your struggle and what your grandparents have done. He knows your architecture and your building abilities and the great achievements that you've done in modern time and even in the ancient worlds to build businesses and Wall Streets out of the ground, to build pyramids out of the ground. The world may not want to know who you really are or who you are today. That's okay. They may look at the crack and the devastation of what a system can do to things that they want to forget. But it also see that you guys are so beautiful that everybody in the world, even if they don't speak English, they know the Michael Jackson. Oh yeah, the Michael, yeah, the Jordan. I know that one. Yeah, yeah, we know this. We know that the Aretha Franklin. We know the Whitney Houston. We know the Tina Turner. Yeah, 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 yeah. How? Because no matter how much you oppress us, using the judicial system, come on, using the monetary system, come on, using the jail system, come on, using all of the weapons and mechanisms formed against us, without us even snitching, we have demonstrated to the world who we really are by our deeds and our fruits. The other ones use lip service, symbols, and imagery, using the stroke of the pen and the experts to tell you who they are. But the landmarks tell you who we are. The pick and the cotton tell you who we are. The inventions tell you who we are. The animation tell you who we are. The rhythm tell you who we are. The DNA tell you who we are. The hair tell you who we are. I never have to tell you who I am by word. You can look at me, read my blood, look at my animation, look at my movement, and you can see the beauty and blessing of God radiant on my people in the slums, in the ghettos of New York, Chicago, LA. So with that being said, as we do it once again, we choose Benjamin Netanyahu construct over the America First concept, as we do it again, again, and again, and again, and again. This time, there will be no more again. This is the end of the road. I'm only telling you this because as a child, I was given dreams like Joseph. Terrible dreams that most of the time I hated to go to sleep. And I also had sleep paralysis or whatever, meaning I would be awake, but I couldn't move. I would be asleep. And then I also, unfortunately, which I don't like, was able to astral project as a child. And I didn't know what it was, so I just kept it to myself. And I always tried to stay up playing video games and, watching wrestling in the 80s and 90s. But no matter how long, it was almost like going to sleep and dealing with Freddy Krueger. I did not want to go to sleep, and I would always dream 20, 30 years in the future. And God showed me that he would give this country a path forward if they just done the right thing. There will come a man who could choose the path, and I believe that to be Trump, to clean the nation, and that included our food, to get all of this stuff y'all see what's in our food. It has no business there. We didn't put it there. Who did that? And you always got a company to blame, or it was Monsanto's. Listen, there ain't no such a thing as no damn Monsanto's. There is a architecture of wickedness that's going to inject your chickens, okay? That takes power to make that happen. You can't just go inject someone's chickens. Come on, wake up. You just can't put sodas on every corner. That is an architecture. Now, that same architecture was supposed to be cleaned up. And Trump started doing it. Using RFK. We started to get men out of women's sports. We started to get them out the military, because these are the things that God don't want. And these are the things that have destroyed nations. And I said, oh man, we got spared. Yes! What don't you do? I'm going to get a chance to live the next couple of years. It's going to be beautiful. I got it all planned out. I'm going to get my passport, get me a nice wife. I'm going to enjoy the rest, because God has spared. He's going to give us prosperity unbelievably. And no one knows why. They think it's just Trump making good decisions. It's because God spared us. And this is why black people out of nowhere started to support Trump and even change and turn on the Democratic Party. Something unprecedented, unheard of. And that's what granted him his favor with God. The more you do for the oppressed people of black Americans, I'm telling you, God will show you favor. God knows these people's journey. See, and even when I think about it, I get a little bit, emotional, because see, I don't go around talking about black this and black that. I don't do that. I don't get into civil rights and all that foolishness. But don't think I don't know the songs, the railroad, the cotton, the mistreatment. The worst Holocaust of all times was not the Jewish Holocaust. It was the Black American Holocaust. And this country knows it and never acts like it to be true because of their own embarrassment. It is not embarrassment. You should use it as power to why America is so great. Because after such a crater in our history, we were able to clean up and be an enforcer of justice around the world. No one has stories like these people. Genitals being chopped off, wives being passed around, bred like animals and hung from trees, and the list goes on, shackled. There is no stories that will ever placed into ovens, thrown into fires, into alligators. And you would think that we would have an anti-defamation league, but there is none. You would think we would call other people anti-black or anti-Semite and it would have power, but we don't get that. You would think America would say, we have our precious people right here who we love. We're going to go out of our way, spend trillions and trillions of dollars to reform you, maybe even get you a capital homeland somewhere, dual citizenship, financially rebuild and help your families as we help to tear them down, bringing drugs and other weapons against you as a state. And God still forgave this nation because God thought he gave the free will for you to do what's right. And you still chose to say Israel's safety is number one priority. And the universal God said, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to let this first line pass down all these cities named Nineveh. I'm going to let this other line pass down areas that says, and stop in Little Egypt. I'm going to reveal the depths of this nation and the pyramids that you hovered and covered over with mounds and mountains. I'm going to call the children to remember their ancestors and illuminate their minds and make these young indigo children not even know where they get it from, but they will know who they actually are without your help or genealogy. Just to show you that no matter what you do, I loved these people from the very beginning, and that's why you hung them. That's why you erased their memory. That's why you put them on trees. That's why you mistreated them. That's why you told them their skin was terrible, and you knew that they were beautiful and loved by me. It seems like everything that God is loving, the enemy hates. Everything that God's treasure, whether it be little children, you want to pedophile them. If it's marriages, you want to get rid of marriages and make same-sex marriages. See, the people are beginning to see the fruits of who is who and what. You don't even have to open your mouth anymore. Just keep your mouth closed and know who you are and let the God of the universe do the fighting for you. A God that could move a sun in front of a moon or a moon in front of a sun. You don't need any guns. I've always tried to tell them that. You don't need no Minister Farrakhan. No offense to the Minister Farrakhan. You don't need no Hebrew Israelites and telling people we the real Jews and all of that. Keep your mouth closed. You don't need to do all of that. We sovereign citizens. We the lost tribe of Shabazz. We the Moors. We all of this. See, you've tried to prove yourself in a world that don't want to hear you doing that because they have their own agenda. And you still force your way to get on these platforms and talk about who you are. You don't need to do that. I've tried to tell you that. It is not necessary. So with that being said, I am no longer part of the MAGA movement. I'm removing my blessings from this movement. I am removing my gift from this movement. This president would have been protected beyond a shadow of a doubt if he would have just stayed the course and stayed with Black Americans. He would have been held as the greatest president of all times. And every president who realized that who we were was assassinated in a fashion that you would know you won't be able to help them. Kennedy was assassinated because of his help of the Black people. No offense, not of the Jewish people. Listen to me. Not of the Irish, and he's Irish, listen to me. Not of the Mexican, but of the Black people. He knew who we were, and they killed him. American president Lincoln knew who we were and how we had been reconstructed, how we had been stripped. Just think of that. Who would not want you to read? Why would they do that? Who would want to get rid of your language and reconstruct you? Who were we? What were we that you needed to do that? And yet we want to make everything an issue. Women's rights, gay rights, domestic violence, domestic abuse, children, everything except the main issue and the worst atrocity of the world gets swept under the rug. How can something like that happen? And so Abraham Lincoln said, we're going to free the slaves. These slaves that we so-called got from here, there, and everywhere. But we ain't going to give them a homeland by force with the British as we did Israel. We're not going to do that. But we're going to free them. And we're going to give them an emancipation. And this is the proclamation. Okay, thank you. Now you can go work at McDonald's. When you can go get your car. Now you're free to get married now. And we ain't going to take your children from you. You don't got to register as a human, 3/5 of a human being. You're free from that. And he was killed. Is that just a coincidence? I don't think so. You don't think so. I'm telling you to say this. In the history of this country, the biggest unusual events, whether it's the bell, have been about black people. And there's a force that no matter how big the atrocities has been to us, it's been able to cover it up, hush it up, throw it under and make Israel the main issue that everybody should be thinking about in Genesis to Revelations. I want you to think about that. It wants you to understand their Holocaust, not what you did right here in America to these people. They crackheads anyway. You got this. I am so disappointed in America. I am so disappointed in my country. Completely disappointed. But I am not to the point where I don't think that we can recover, because I believe that we are in the age of enlightenment. I believe people like Tucker Carlson, people like Candace Owens, people like Charleston White and others who are going to stand on business and stand on truth anyway. I believe white people mainly have stood up and stood for this country unbelievably. And I think some of them are hurt. Even, was it Joe Canteen? I forgot his name, who just resigned. And he was a military. Him and his wife were military. And he just resigned because of his consciousness. He know what's going on. And you're going to begin to see more resignations because people are they're hurt. I said a few times, hey, I'm not doing any more lives. I'm not doing this. No, we don't got to go that far. Let's just breathe a little bit. But you can express how hurt you are that the country decided to go down this path again. I want great things for America. I don't want to talk about slavery. I hate it. I hate that it's in schools. I hate that we bring it up. We always use the race card. I hate that. I want to be free. I want people to be free. I don't want people to feel like, oh, I can't say that you're a monkey. Okay, well, call me an alligator then. Okay, and I don't want you to think that, man, I can't say that. Or I don't want to say, hey, your hair, it's tingly or nappy. Listen, you should not have to feel uncomfortable. That day should be over. And that's what I wanted for this country. I love white people unbelievably, and I'm probably stupid because people are going to say, why? It's woven into my DNA. So I can be pure. I have some of the same abilities, me, as the Native Americans. You thought rain dancing was a joke? Praying to the universe? Becoming one with the wind and nature and hearing the trees and how they speak? You think it's a joke? That's who we are, and that's who we used to be. We could pray to the universe to bring waves of water. That's who we used to be. What you have to do with technology, we were able to do with our minds. That's who we are, and that's why you erased it. And that's why you keep us high off of sports and foolishness and filth and wickedness, so we can't access our powers. And if you touch one of God's beautiful sheep who know better and doing better, you might as well just kill yourself, because we're protected and loved by the universal God who controls all things and sits above maritime and admiralty law, who sits above, for real. Now, there's an eclipse coming in August. Why August? If you really knew what August really stood for, I don't want to go there, but you'll learn. The map, again, I don't want to give too much information, but I'll leave you with this thought. Just when you think that maybe I'm not it's persuasive enough for you, I want to leave you with a thought. President Trump said to Europe, don't forget we have an ocean that separates us. See, people are not talking about the round earth anymore. They know better, and they know what's going on. People are now, out of the clear blue sky and in the later part of the days, are beginning to talk about the firmament. See, the lie is being broken and shattered. The same thing goes with the rest of the nations. And this is why you need to fear more than anything else. Because, see, we are not flying across the world around a ball to go over there and see Iran turning with the curvature. We flying right over a flat surface across the world to go over there. Meaning that bombs and missiles are a lot more of a reality now. See, again, when you're on a ball and these niggas on the other side of the ball, you don't really worry about their missiles, flying all around this ball to come all the way over here and see you, or vice versa. When you realize the earth is actually probably flat, you got more respect for Russia now. Because what you mean? You mean that they're just across the ocean? I never knew that. You damn right. We've been trying to tell your ass the whole time. What? So they really not far away. You damn right. Sarah Palin, they start laughing at her. She said, we can see Russia from right here in Alaska. Oh, she's so stupid. What was funny about that? Realistically, in a jet? Some of the experts and the real scholars say Russia's about 5, 6, maybe even 8 hours away only. And they had you thinking it's 34 hours away or somewhere around the earth. See, when America has to be faced with the truth, it's not about slavery. It's not about the oppression or the firmament. It's not about that. It's just that we were built on so many lies that the truth is more stranger than fiction. Isn't that something? And when you finally adjust to the reality of what's really going on, you begin to see that now maybe we need to rethink this again. Because we don't need to be going to war with this many people if the earth is actually different than what they've said on a ball. That changes the entire equation, does it not? Of course it is. And if these people, and look, again, this is not about the Chinese. This is not about Israel. This is not about the Irish. We're not giving them credit and we're not taking it away. I always tell people the Jewish people are the real Jewish people. I want you to listen to the language. The Jewish people are the real Jewish people. They are truly the people of the Bible. I want you to listen to me and listen to me carefully. The Jewish people are the people of the Bible. Black people are the people of the earth and the land. I want you to think about that. Jewish people are the people of the Bible and of those books. Black Americans are the people of the earth, the indigenous, earth-satoshinist people of the universe, of black matter, of dirt. Of melanin, of energy. That is who we are. So I don't argue if I'm the people of the Bible, if I'm the chosen people and all this other kind of stuff. Listen, that's for the scholars and all of these professor people. And look, I'm not going out of my way to try to convince anybody that I'm the chosen people of God. You shouldn't have to say if you were the chosen people of God. That should be evident. But if you really have to have everybody know, so a lot of people can, respect who you are, then that's fine. So we'll pass the Bible around. We'll make documentaries for people. We'll make movies. We'll hold Holocaust and everything else like that and meetings so we could help them appreciate who you are. That's okay. I love celebrating things. I don't care if it's St. Patrick's Day. I'm not, maybe we shouldn't do that, but I like Christmas. I like Thanksgiving. I love Jewish holidays. But I can tell you one thing, and I'll end on this note. It's a beautiful thing when real Jewish people say to you as a black person, you are very loved by God. You say, oh, yeah, wait, you see that? No. You don't even know your history, do you? And oh, well, of course I do. And over the years, a lot of good Jewish people have always done things for black people because they know your pain. They've had pain too. They get it. And I've always loved Jewish people because of that. And I've always had help by Jewish people because of that. And I've always loved white people because of that. White people have said more compliments to me than my own family members. Could you believe that? No offense, my father has never given me a compliment about anything. I don't even remember if my mother ever said, I love you. I don't know. And I don't want to lie and say, oh, of course she did. I don't remember. But I've been told by more white people that I'm somebody. I can do something. I can be great. My hair is not a piece of shit. It's good. I have nice hair. I have nice skin. But I've been told by my own people sometime, black mother, piece of shit, you this. And I'm not saying white people have not said mean things. They say mean things to each other as well. They said mean things about Japanese. They said mean things about Arabs and Hispanics. We've all had our share of hurting one another because we don't want them to feel as beautiful as us. Your skin is not as good. Your hair is not as good. But you should never have to say those things to somebody to prove that you're somebody. There's something wrong within you And so, in conclusion, as a Republican, as a conservative, I'm going to continue to hope the best for President Trump, mainly because our nation depends on the decisions that he makes. But at this point, I am pulling out of the MAGA movement, and I am going to seek God instead of keep running for him. And I want to know about those dreams that he gave me. I want to know if there's something he can do to preserve this nation from what I know is coming. And Iran is the beginning of it. See, most of you think that there'll be some agreement signed on Tuesday, on Wednesday. They've destroyed enough, and one way or the other, I don't know what is coming. I know what I saw, but I have no idea what is coming, how it's going to play out. I have no idea. But I know that the Republican Party, or specifically the conservative movement, is something that I still have hope for as a conservative. And that was the reason why I wanted to be a conservative. Before I start talking this MAGA stuff, I knew the Republican Party, the conservative party, would work for me. And then along came MAGA. And I was like, wow, that's even better. Well, what do you don't do? I love that part on the 5 Heartbeats when Big Red says that. But I want y'all to stay with me. And let's watch this thing unfold. Let me look at some of this comment. It says, we stand together. That's beautiful. It says, rolling my eyes. Okay. It says, this quit part is about to get dragged out into the street. Y'all be dragged out into the streets along with MAGA. Okay, whatever that means. You have a great part that you don't say out loud. Beautiful. Are you a baby boomer? Not sure. How you doing, Larry? It says, do you make fun of the smart kids in class? How you doing, Larry? Hey, Michael. Michael Thomas, how are you? I know that name, Michael Thomas. Chris, what's going on, Chris? Janet, Tina, how are you? No, I never really made fun of the smart people in class. I might have. Or either I made friends with them. But let's sit back and I'll do, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you bits and pieces of my dream or my dreams. And I've been also thinking about changing the name of the podcast to fix it to where it's going to do something amazing, by the way. But let's leave it where it is right now. But as things unfold, the first part is done already. I am no longer part of MAGA. That's done. I am not against MAGA. But as things unfold, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you exclusively how the universe is viewing what just happened. We're going to do that. This is going to be exciting. Sitting back, no longer being a part, and resigned. And now, as a team, you and I, we're going to sit back and we're going to discuss in detail what we're seeing. So I want you to get your 3D glasses out, because we are going to go for a hell of a ride. Get your popcorn out. We're going to be in a movie theater. There's going to be sad parts in this movie. They're going to be heroic parts, just like the Titanic. For some people, it was a love story. For others, it was about music. Others, it was about a nice yacht and some fancy stuff. For others, it was about investors. For others, I mean, you just go down the line of all the people who what they think about the Titanic. You got about 9 different people out there talking about 9 different things. It was the greatest rescue mission. It was, oh, this, that, the third. It was an act of God. It was this, it was that. Who knows? But Mr. President, I love you, and thank you for stepping up to run for president. My resignation from the MAGA movement is not a demonstration of me being against you. It's just I cannot, in good faith and good conscience, continue to say that I'm part of the MAGA movement based on the journey that we went down with Israel into this war. I just feel that it was just too bearable for me to be a part of the MAGA movement because of this specific incident. And I am hoping that, our soldiers could be, get out of this as quick as possible. A deal can be struck. I'm hoping there are very few casualties on the Israeli side, who's already spread thin, occupying Gaza, dealing with Lebanon, fighting off the Houthis, fighting with Iran. I mean, we're talking about the size of New Jersey doing all of this. But also using the taxpayers' dollars. So with respect, I'm just resigning from that movement, and I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. I still believe that you are the greatest president of all times. I think you're imperfect. I think you did not really want to go down this route. I think you worked really hard not to do this, but I think those persons in high places presented a Alice in Wonderland that you could not refuse, and they're good at this. And so you had to do what you have to do. I believe you're a great strategizer, a great business person, and you will figure a way out of this. Many people are saying right now that you're looking for an off-ramp, and you're coming up with a very good off-ramp, possibly. But just in case, Mr. President, there is no off-ramp, I still believe you've done a fantastic job. And it just goes to show you, it's not you. The system is going to do what it's going to do. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It says you have a beautiful day too.